The differences between President Barack Obama and former President Jimmy Carter are many. But as commentator Jason Rosenbaum explains, the two may have more in common than you think. This week, Jason looks at President Carter's inability to pass major initiatives through a Democratic Congress, and he compares that to the problems Mr. Obama is having as he tries to get support for a new health care plan.
There are probably 10,433 moments in the history of The Simpsons that could be utilized as an effective radio icebreaker. But one gag during the television show's fourth season seems to sum up popular conceptions about Jimmy Carter. After failing to raise enough money through a bake sale to fund a statue of Abraham Lincoln, the people of Springfield had to settle for a monument dedicated to the country's 39th president. A riot ensued after a bit character declared that Carter was, quote, history's greatest monster. Carter's presidency is generally viewed as a failure, as he was unable to stem the tide against a morbid economy and a rough energy climate. So it doesn't take a rocket science or a history major to ascertain that getting compared to Carter is something of a slur in American politics. It's also not much of a surprise that Republicans have tried to compare Carter to the current chief executive, President Barack Obama. Obviously, the two men have a myriad of differences, but there are some similarities. Both started off their terms with huge legislative majorities, and both took advantage of antipathy against a Republican Party that declined steeply in popularity. Yet Obama is running the risk of running into a particularly troublesome Carter stumbling block, an inability to pass major legislative initiatives through a Democratic Congress. Carter had a poor relationship with Congress. His domestic agenda, which included trimming popular capital projects, was at times an anathema to many in his own party. Thus far, Obama managed to pass some fairly notable pieces of legislation. That includes a massive federal stimulus package, tighter regulations on the tobacco industry, and alterations to credit card regulations. So it's too early in Obama's term to say that his relationship with Congress is mortally frosty. But there are some warning signs that congressional infighting could hinder the president's biggest agenda item, the reconfiguration of the country's healthcare system. Left-of-center members of the Democratic Party, for instance, were furious last week that Montana Senator Max Baucus introduced healthcare legislation that left out the so-called public option. More conservative elements of the parties have been balking for some time at the cost of implementing such a healthcare proposal. In some ways, the complications of the healthcare debate are part of the political trend I like to call an embarrassment of riches. When a political party achieves a gigantic legislative majority, factions begin to emerge based on political ideology and region. When Democrats tried to scoop up more right-of-center districts by running more right-of-center candidates, they ran the risk of having to deal with some dissent within their party. Obama, however, seems to be playing all the right notes so far. He promised during his health care address to listen to differing ideas. And unlike Carter, Obama's experience as a federal legislator could be helpful toward bringing compromise and consensus to a thorny issue like health care. Getting along with Congress is only a small part of any re-election bid. Obama could have a grand relationship and still fail due to a slumbering economy or an unforeseen foreign calamity. But keeping broad inter-party coalitions together could be what differentiates Obama from presidents who faltered. I'm Jason Rosenbaum.
And that'll do it for this week's Talking Politics. Remember, podcasts of this show and all of our shows are available at KBIA.org. Thanks for listening. I'm Sarah Whitmire.